Far out in the ocean, the water is as blue as the petals of the loveliest cornflower, and as clear as the purest glass. But it is very deep, too. It goes down deeper than any anchor rope will go, and many, many steeples would have to be stacked one on top of the other to reach from the bottom to the surface of the sea. It is down there where the sea folk live.
Welcome to An Each Retelling, the podcast where we discuss various retellings and adaptations of works in the public domain. I'm your host, Jasmine Garcia, and joining me today is...
I'm Sam Marchioni. Lin-Manuel Miranda owes me compensation for corset slander.
I am Bex. Lin-Manuel Miranda owes me compensation for Scuttle's new song. We'll get into it.
Yeah.
I'm Shamila and Lin-Manuel Miranda owes me for cutting Le Poissons from the film entirely.
When he was playing him, too, I was genuinely surprised.
I did not know that part.
Wait, really?
At least I
didn't miss Les Poissons.
No, me neither. But anyway, we're getting it.
You're telling me you didn't miss the lyrics, he, ho, ho, ho? How dare you, Sam?
Brilliant.
I'm sorry, after
Ashman's
John
best.
Stamos nearly killed that child in the live version?
Oh.
That is true. He did almost kill a child.
No. Oh
With all apologies to John Stamos.
We loved you in Muppets Haunted Mansion. Anyway, that went off to a goofy start. And as you can probably guess, if you haven't been paying attention to the first episode, we are now going to be discussing the recent live-action remake of The Little Mermaid. What I also realized is there are definitely some people listening who might not know the original fairy tale. So,
Hans Christian Andersen wrote this story about this Little Mermaid. You might know that, but what you don't know is that the Disney version and his version are pretty different as Disney adaptations and other adaptations are wont to do. You know, like how your Grimm brothers start out gory and they get sanitized over time. That kind of happens to The Little Mermaid. So some of the basic beats are the same. Mermaid wants to go on land. Mermaid wants to give up her life in the sea as a mermaid to gain a human soul. So she goes to, kind of how it starts. First of all, she's not forbidden from going to land. When she's 15, same age as Ariel in the movie, she's allowed to go swim to the surface to see what it looks like. And so she becomes enraptured. And that's when she sees the prince fall off of the ship because there's a big storm, and she saves him and brings him back to the shore. And she, of course, instantly falls in love. And so...
We did bring this up in the last one, but after the Little Mermaid leaves the prince on the shore, there's a girl with a bunch of nuns from a convent who comes, and so the prince kind of gets mixed up into thinking that girl's the one who saved him, and then he never sees her again. So there's pining going on from him, there's pining going on from the Little Mermaid.
And meanwhile, Mermaid asks her grandma, she's like, hey, mermaids live a long time. Do humans live that long? Would I be able to be with this guy? And she's like, mermaids live like 300 years. Humans have much shorter lifespans, but they get an eternal soul that goes to heaven because Christianity was big at the time. But mermaids at that turn to sea foam and cease to exist. And so she's like, well, let's go stop that. So she goes to the sea witch, who doesn't have a name in the original.
None of them do.
Telling she's just the sea witch.
Yeah, no one really has a name.
And the witches. This is where the Disney sensation really starts to come in. Instead of just giving up her voice, the sea witch takes Ariel's tongue. So it's full on. You literally can't speak ever again. And once you become a human, there's no 3-day deal and turn you back. Once you become a human, that's it. You can't go back. Every time you take a step, feels like you're stepping on knives.
So, of course, they want her dancing.
And the only way she'll get a soul is if she wins the love of the prince and marries him, because then she'll have some of his soul. And again, very Christian and stuff. Otherwise, at dawn of the first day, that he marries someone else, the Little Mermaid will die with a broken heart and dissolve into sea foam upon the waves. And then it goes like mostly how the movie goes, except for the fact that the sea witch isn't conniving or anything. It's just because he fell in love with a different woman. And
he also kind of treats the Little Mermaid as a pet, not like an actual
Almost,
person.
yeah.
a little bit, yeah. And he doesn't fall in love with her. As Sam mentioned, the girl from the temple that he thought it was, he ends up mentioning marrying her. And then the Little Mermaid's devastated. Before the dawn of the first day, she could die. Her sisters come to help her out, and they give her a dagger. In exchange, they also did the trade with the sea witch, dagger in exchange for hair. And if
Save
the
it
Little
for
Mermaid
December.
kills the prince and lets his blood drip on her feet, she will become a mermaid once more. A Disney story. But she can't do it. And she goes into her bedroom, sees him sleeping with a new wife, and loves him so much she can't do it. So she throws away the dagger and throws herself off a ship. She turns into foam, but then she also turns into like an
Daughter
airbound
of the air, I
spirit.
think is what they
Daughter
call
Yeah,
of
it.
the
daughter of the
air.
air.
Didn't
And
that get added
because of
like
her
at the very
selflessness,
end?
she is given the chance to earn her own soul by doing good deeds for mankind for 300 years, and she will one day rise up into heaven. That's basically the gist of it.
Wasn't it something Hans Christian Andersen was like forced to add by his editor or something?
I was trying to do research regarding that. I really had a hard time finding like definitive proof of either way. So I could definitely see it going either way.
Yeah, because the Daughters of the Ending just felt really tacked on. It was like really jarring to read.
Yeah, so I don't know if it was just him dealing with Christian guilt or him being forced to add it in. It's really hard to say. And interestingly enough, P.L. Travers, the author of the Mary Poppins books, even called that ending emotional blackmail because whether or not she gains a soul is based off of basically children's behavior.
Wow.
Yeah, and you can't control children's behavior.
I should know, I used to teach.
Same
And
here.
then there's also the gayness of it all.
Yes.
Oh, of course. Yeah, we talked a lot about that at length of what a gay disaster Hans Christian Andersen was.
About how The Little Mermaid was maybe written for his friend that just got engaged to someone.
Some people contend that he was bisexual, not gay, but
I'm using it as an umbrella term.
He was into men. He was into men.
Happy Pride Month, by the way, everyone.
Yes,
Happy Pride!
And this counts because both Hans Christian Andersen and Howard Ashman. Yay!
And Alan Menken.
What is he gay?
And Alan Menken.
Oh,
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes.
It doesn't surprise me, but it is nice to know.
So yeah, that is a messy retelling of the original tale.
Da-da-da. Wow. All right, so Beck, since you weren't actually here last time, would you like to kind of go into your connection to this fairy tale and also the original Disney version?
Sure. Little Mermaid was always one of my favorites as a kid. I did grow up with a pool, so I would swim around pretending to be a mermaid all the time. But what really made me fall in love with it wasn't quite the movie. It was when I was 7 or 8, Little Mermaid came to Broadway. So I saw it. I was enraptured. I had this friend. We would go through the whole soundtrack, do the whole movie. We would switch off on the parts. Well, she never let me be Ariel, but we would switch off on the parts. It's fine. I was a better Ursula, obviously. And also when I was like 7, I played Sebastian in some scenes in my acting class. And when I was 10, I played either Flotsam or Jetsam in The Little Mermaid Jr. I cannot remember which one because the other eel's name was also Rebecca. So I can't remember which one of us had which part. The Little Mermaid, the movie's good. It's a classic, of course. The musical, I personally think it's good. I think it's great. The production on Broadway.
Yeah.
So in case you don't know, and listeners, I want you to go look up The Little Mermaid Heelys. Because the production on Broadway, all of the mermaids used Heelys to get around. They were just, again, this was the mid-early 2000s and they were all the rage. So they were just heeling around the stage. The costumes are interesting. Some of the new songs that they added were gorgeous. My particular favorites include the If Only Quartet and Beyond My Wildest Dreams, though I do think For the First Time is better. we'll get to that. And Prince Eric's song, Her Voice, is good, though I also do think the new song in the new movie is better as well. And then, of course, Ursula's new song is one of my favorite songs in history, and I was devastated when they changed it for the tour.
Oh, did they? What did they change it to?
I can't remember because I blocked it out because I Want the Good Times Back so much.
I think I saw the version where it was still insinuated that Ursula had killed Ariel's mom.
That I'm not aware of.
It was a long, long time ago because, as we established last time, I have baggage surrounding The Little Mermaid that has less to do with the actual story and more to do with childhood traumas. But
right.
I mean, really, to me, the biggest legacy of the Little Mermaid musical on Broadway is Sierra Boggess still calls Norm Lewis daddy in a way that makes me very uncomfortable when they were the Phantom and Christine together.
I mean, valid, but also it's kind of sweet.
But it's also pretty cute.
Yeah, it's Norm Lewis. Like,
it's mostly cute, and Norm Lewis is an absolute sweetheart.
Yes.
I've met him. He's very nice.
Oh, that's good to know. It feels like the remake was trying to get those vibes without actually being Norm Lewis, which just get Norm Lewis.
Yes.
But yeah, that's my Little Mermaid experience. And then I'd been following the development of this new movie for a while, anticipating, wondering, looking at the casting, judging the casting, appreciating the casting, hating the casting, all of the above. Not for Hallie, though, never for Hallie. She is the greatest thing in this movie. We'll talk about it.
She's so cute.
She's
I love
precious. But yeah, let's delve into it because we did have a lot of preconceptions regarding this movie that I think we spent almost a third of the last episode talking about it. And I'll just say it. I was kind of blown away. I really didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did. I actually think this might be the best remake they've done.
So my take was, I think I might have liked this better than the original movie, but that's partially because the original movie has baggage for me. But the thing that I said when I came out of it was like, somewhere between these two movies, there is a perfect movie.
Ooh, that is an interesting idea.
Because there is stuff I like from the first one, there is stuff I like from the new one, and if you could somehow synthesize the two of them, I think we'd have something amazing.
And throw in If Only. Because that's like the only song I really miss.
Specifically for that, I would argue throw in Sebastian and Ariel's relationship. Because Sebastian and Ariel's relationship, specifically in the musical, is so good. And that's why Sebastian's part, if only works. But I do agree with you, Sam, that we can meld these together, because there are so many parts of this new movie that are really good, that it makes the parts that are not as good stick out even more.
I definitely understand that. Like, there is actually very little I didn't like, which, again, I was surprised at. I think part of it is that I did go in with such low expectations. Not for Hallie. Never for Hallie. We stand Halle Bailey in this house.
But Disney does have a reputation of, like, less than stellar remakes.
Exactly.
Yes. I went in, we can't even begin to talk about how disappointed I was by Beauty and the Beast. To the point that that's the only remake I've seen up until Little Mermaid.
Yeah, no, I've seen most of them. But yeah, Sam and I both kind of agree that the Beauty and the Beast hate train was maybe a little harsh.
I think actually something that the Beauty and the Beast remake and this remake have in common is that a lot more at letting you invest in the relationship and giving common ground. Like, I know some people criticize the relationship between Belle and the Beast in the new one as like negging and, you know, all that pickup artist bullshit. And I'm like, no, see, I like that because the Beast in the 2017 version has no interest in Belle as a potential curse breaker. So they're just falling in love with each other in spite of themselves because they have common interests and they challenge each other and they get to know each other. And then for this Little Mermaid remake, Ariel and Eric are two sides of the same coins. They're both collectors. They're both nerds. And Jonah Hawking has said that if they did a sequel, he'd want Eric to become a merman. And I'm like, let's do some like Barbie and a mermaid tale shit. Give them both magic pendants so they can go between worlds.
I will agree, Sam. The central romances in Beauty and the Beast was good. It was just the music that really disappointed me.
Yes.
I'll defend Evermore at least, personally, but...
Well, I specifically meant the overuse of auto-tune and stuff and all that. I have audio opinions. Man.
Yeah, no, that's very fair. Emma Watson definitely deserved better, because I think she could have been fine without the auto-tune.
They just wanted her too much to be Paige O'Hara or maybe Susan Egan, but they let Hallie be Hallie, and it worked out better.
Let's talk about how perfect she was in this movie. From the second she swam on screen, the power of her voice, the power of, because it is also hard to be, the one thing I was also wondering about live action, because the benefit of having Little Mermaid on stage is she could sing and it could be out to the audience. So we could hear Ariel's thoughts even while she's mute. Same thing with like the animated version. Animation can show so much, but like I was like, how are things going to come across in live action? And I'm happy to report she knocked it out of the park.
She really did.
She was incredible.
She really was. And one of the things I actually really liked is, like, because we were even talking about how it's kind of, a lot of the criticism people have about animated Ariel are kind of in bad faith and kind of unfair. But somehow they actually toned down a lot of the things that people have criticized about, but somehow it didn't bother me. They kind of made her version of Ariel a lot more chill.
And she's definitely older now. Like, they don't specifically say how old she is, but
she
Hallie was 19 when she was cast. So she does, and also in this version, Ariel is ruling a sea. Every single one of the sisters has a sea to rule, so she has a greater sense of responsibility. One thing I will say is a bummer in this movie especially is we didn't get to see much of Ariel's sisters. In the first movie.
We just had that one scene of them.
We just have that one scene of them cleaning the coral, and I was especially disappointed that there wasn't much in the way of Simone Ashley, because I love Simone Ashley.
Oh my god.
And it's kind of funny she's here, considering what Bridgerton vibes this version of Eric is giving.
The most pathetic man.
I love
him. The greatest himbo.
He's too much, I don't know, is he too much of a nerd to be a himbo? I've been debating.
No, you're right, he's a nerd. I apologize. He's a nerd.
And we love that. It's just...
He only really goes into himbo when he gets hypnotized by Vanessa. And
that's an enforced thing.
He's still asking, where's Ariel? Where's Ariel?
Yeah. This Eric was fighting for his life against the hypnotism, and I respect it.
We do.
And also Vanessa doesn't kick his dog.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Unacceptable.
We objected to that and how nobody said anything.
That was him, and then I think Eric was the second strongest performance.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was
surprised
fabulous. Yeah, because Eric's one of the better Disney princes. He's one of the ones that actually has a personality.
Yeah, it's funny.
True. We got into
I'm
arguments
right.
to the contrary.
Hey, listen, you all heard me, and I will even play it back how I was basically saying, listen, I too would risk it all for a blue-eyed prince who would jump on a burning boat to save his dog.
Truly. Who would thought?
Bex, you get me. I appreciate that.
But just the scene, you could watch him falling in love with Ariel, and it becoming less about wanting to, like, you could see the journey of it becoming less about wanting to find the girl with the voice and more about, and it was also so amazing, like, explaining, first of all, why he's out on the sea if he's a prince, why he's taking all these voyages if he's supposed to be. Can we just say in this movie, I'm jumping around, but I need to get to this. Grimsby is the greatest in this movie.
I love
Such
him.
a good dad.
Because I hated him. I hate him.
Really?
I just find him annoying. Found him annoying as a kid, and like not much better in the stage musical. But he is amazing in this movie.
He is such a father. He is his father. He really basically is.
And he's some Queen Clarice and Joe vibes between him and Queen Selena.
I was thinking that. I was especially thinking that when he was like, well, can you blame her? when Eric was like, what, she left?
Him kicking the ring away during the engagement party, I was like, ally.
Kind of wish we had a little bit more with the sisters, especially considering how gorgeous their tail designs were. Every single mer person had such a gorgeous design in this movie. And again,
seeing tropical fish.
That is something that also bugged me. Like, we see so little of all the other mer people
up until the
very end. And I'm like, kingdom where? Like, how, Triton, are you king because there's like you, your daughters, and then 3 guards? We see mer people at the end, and they all look amazing.
I mean, not enough mermaids.
Yeah.
Not
is
enough
fair.
mermaids.
It's too sparse.
I will grant you that. But
Save the CGI for the under the sea sequence.
Yeah. Under the Sea, tying into not enough mermaids, just not enough. Under the Sea was gorgeous, but like, where are the again, I'm an audio bitch. Where are the backing vocals? Where was the blackfish going? If you know the clip, you know the clip.
Yes.
And if you can find the clip, Jasmine, I'll send you the clip to put in the episode.
It felt disappointingly sparse. Like Under the Sea won the Oscar the year that it was released.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a visually sumptuous feast in the first movie. And I'm not saying that I dislike a lot of the things.
You definitely could have crammed more
I
in
like
there.
the dancing turtles,
Mhm.
but part of the thing about the animated film is that there's so much of you say the line and you see the correlation.
That's like
that
the
we were
one thing I
missing
had
here.
an issue with, yeah.
And also, River did mention that the instrumentals were kind of weak because they went in wholeheartedly on the steel drum. But I also think, and this is no shade to him, I love David Diggs in a lot of things, but I don't think he has the right kind of maturity for Sebastian. Ironically, in a way, Titus Burgess does. And Titus has a noticeably higher voice than David Diggs in a lot of ways, but
also somehow
David
deeper.
Diggs has a thinner voice, I guess you
Yes.
could say.
For all of you who might not know, Titus Burgess, aka the guy from Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, was the original Sebastian in Broadway show. Should he have been Ursula? Yes, and he has proved that many times by singing Poor Unfortunate Souls everywhere and being amazing. But his performance as Sebastian is really good.
It really is. It's a shame they couldn't do his costume justice, honestly.
Yeah.
We don't need to talk about the crabs.
Oh, the animation.
Well, whenever you feel the need to talk about Titus's costume, just remember what they did for Shaggy.
That is true. That was even worse. I've seen productions where they give him like a really nice red tux. Do that. That's actually really neat.
Or puppets.
Listeners, Google the Little Mermaid costumes in 2008 and you'll see why we are
throwing a little shade.
Yes.
Just a little bit.
But I do definitely see your points regarding Under the Sea. With that said, I did kind of love like the choreography they did for some of the fish. Like some of them were swing dancing. It was really cute.
I liked the dancing turtles.
I have a fun fact about that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was I did notice in the credits that for the choreography in this movie, I think specifically for the Under the Sea choreography, but it could have also been for when they're dancing on the mainland too. They reached out to the Alvin Alley Dance Center to actually choreograph.
That is really neat.
She brought the Alvin Alley American Dance Theater over to London to work with his VXF artists, and they tapped choreographer Joey Pizzizzi and co-choreographer Tara Nicole Hughes to create movements for the sea creatures. And all of the underwater scenes were shot dry for wet with blue screen and FX enhancement. And so they basically took it's all from real dance. And I just thought that was really cool. And that's why that scene...
While we're on the subject of choreography, I was very frustrated with the on-land choreography scenes, not because the choreography was bad, but because I felt it was really hard to see the choreography. And that extremely frustrated me because Rob Marshall is like the director that you get in this day and age for choreography scene. I mean, Chicago alone could justify that, but then you also have amazing things like Be Italian in 9 with the sand imagery feels particularly relevant. You have
Cinderella.
Well, he was only the choreographer on that. He wasn't the director on that.
No, I know, but you're talking about him as a choreographer.
I'm talking about him as a filmmaker who is really good at filming choreography.
Oh, I see. I also don't mind the choreography on the on-land scene because I think for me it was really important to watch Ariel, watch the humans, and watch Eric watch Ariel. I feel like it served the story more. Both dance scenes are the most colorful scenes in the movie.
Easily.
I was shocked to see so much color in the Disney remake.
I was so concerned with how it was going to end up looking, but it is actually kind of gorgeous. Like the first trailer I thought
it was so
really
muted.
good.
It looks so dark and gloomy.
With lighting. There is still some problem with lighting in the darker scenes,
yes,
like Ursula's
absolutely.
caverns, and then the Kiss the Girl sequence. Yeah,
it looks a lot better.
Is the biggest offender.
I will also say I couldn't see anything during that final fight sequence.
It was just
that was
going around in the
I
dark.
take it back. That was the worst offender on.
I was like,
I kind of think they were just kind of trying to go for something almost cryptid-like. With that said, someone on TikTok suggested they should have at least had her eyes glowing, and I'm like, okay, yeah, they should have. That would have been awesome.
Bioluminescence is so cool.
And they use it a lot in this movie, is the thing. So it's not even like
do it for that scene then.
Yeah,
like, why could we see the sharks chase better than the final fight?
And it's supposed to be
That
the
bothers
climax.
me.
The fact that we can't see
Exactly.
the climax is just...
Is it really a climax if you can't see it?
That's the question.
Ask any man who's ever had sex.
That's fire.
Oh, damn. It's really funny how we've gone all this way and yet we somehow managed to not talk about Part of Your World yet.
Oh my god, yes, so let's go through it. Part of Your World was worth the price of admission alone.
It was beautiful.
Stunning.
I truly believe that she walked in on that audition and just no one else could top her. Easily.
That's what they claim, and it was the thing that I loved, it was so emotionally honest, while also sounding effortless.
Yeah, that's really a really good way of putting it. Like,
I have to look it up. Did she sing that live on the set? Because, I mean, I feel like
she said
you
she
couldn't
did
have
sing a
with
lot.
the blocking the way that it works, but I haven't looked into as much how they did the underwater filming for this.
yeah, I've been meaning to look into that more.
Bex and I, when we watched The Little Mermaid live, we were talking about how Ali Krallo was just put in the worst possible positions to sing Part of Your World physically.
Yeah.
In case you guys didn't see that, because not many people did. So she sings it while she's hanging in the air.
She's hanging in the air, she's like twisted around.
Yeah.
She's
That
like
could be good
there's-
for diaphragm.
upward dogging.
Yeah, I was about to say, there's no
Worst way.
space for her diaphragm. There's no space even for, like, much acting, because you're stuck in the air.
Yeah, because Ali is, of course, a talented singer. And
Moana is a testament to that.
of course.
And
It
she
is
was
just-
great later on in the show when she got to sit down.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also, they
Yeah.
did make her sing the Part of Your World reprise, like, in the pose.
Like,
And I'm
like
like,
that. It's
again, not good for the diaphragm, not
There's
good
a-
for the lung support.
no. It looks neat, but at what cost? Like,
And it
she
didn't even
definitely
look
was-
neat. That production looked so cheap, but we're not here to talk about Little Mermaid Live.
I mean, yes, but I don't know. I kind of have, from what little I've seen, I do kind of have a fondness for it. I can't explain why, but
Does it have
That's
anything to do with
why
Queen
they're fond of
Latifah
it,
as
and it's
Ursula?
Graham Phillips.
It is Graham Phillips.
It's Graham Phillips and it's Queen Latifah.
I mean, yeah, that's a big part of it for sure.
For John Stamos. I think that was the funniest casting choice they could have ever done. And it's so funny. In case you don't know, because obviously now there's debate over whether this is truly something to mourn for, but Le Poisson is not in the remake.
No, I don't miss
They
it.
cut the whole dinner scene.
They really did. Like, it's interesting because there were still, of course, moments where Ariel is just kind of experiencing the human world for the first time and kind of making little mistakes, including the Jodie Benson cameo.
I loved the Jodie Benson cameo so much.
That was perfect.
In case you guys haven't seen them run and hug each other at the premiere, you should look that video up. Also, Jodie Benson had Howard Ashman's lyrics written into her dress.
Yes.
That's the other thing. Watching this again really just reminded me, like, oh, yeah, Howard Ashman was a genius.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see, like, the levels to which Lin-Manuel Miranda in his lyrics either is trying to match Howard Ashman or trying to be Lin-Manuel Miranda. So there are some parts where it works. Like, I did not mind the lyrical changes that were made to Kiss the Girl.
I agree. I liked it.
They were less egregious than I thought they were, and it sounded like something Howard Ashman would write. I liked, for the first time, aside from the corset slander, like, I thought...
Okay, well, you have to accept that there's corset slander in everything, Sam.
Yes.
And also, I will give Ariel
As
a
long
pass
as-
for it. I will give Ariel a pass for it because she is experiencing clothes for the
for
first
the
time.
first
Really.
time. It's a sensory
Okay,
issue
yes.
for her, I'm thinking.
Yes. See, I would be okay with that if it hadn't just played into the stereotypical tropes of, like, the tight lacing and stuff, because corset slander isn't everything, and it shouldn't be. I have worn corsets. If it hurts, it is either the wrong size
or you've tied it wrong.
This has been a very important corset PSA.
What I did like about that scene is they put her in the boots, and she clearly hates it.
And then she never wears boots. Did you know that she doesn't wear shoes for the rest of the movie?
She's just going around barefoot.
She finds like a pair of sandals, and she wears those. And she likes those, I think.
Does she? I just saw so many shots of her feet. I thought it was in a Tarantino movie.
Well,
no!
During the scene where she and Eric are in the market, she like sees people wearing those brown thatched sandals.
Right, yeah.
And I think she gets Eric to buy her a pair, because as they're going back, I think I remember her carrying them in her hand.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah. I've seen production shots of her with the sandals.
Right,
right. But
probably also just a safety thing. Better to have Hallie running around. I liked Eric's new song a lot.
I loved it so
that was the first one they
much.
wrote together. That was the first one, Alan Menken. And so in case you don't know, I think also a reason why Lin-Manuel reined in some of his Lin-Manuelness is because The Little Mermaid was the movie that inspired him to fall in love with theater. That's been well documented, well recorded. Howard Ashman, Alan Menken, one of their icons. And so I think to know they were working on The Little Mermaid and to want to honor one of his mentors, I feel like he did. We'll get to Scuttlebutt. We will get to Scuttlebutt.
We will get to it.
But I really felt like Wild Uncharted Waters felt.
It felt like an Ashman song.
It felt like an Ashman song.
It had the yearning. Like, Sam, you mentioned in the last episode how you kind of wish Eric had his own part of your world. I feel like that was it. You got your wish.
I loved it.
The reason why it's so much better than her voice, and her voice is great in the Broadway show, but her voice is about him longing to find the woman specifically. But Wild Uncharted Waters ties into what Eric wants more as a person, not just to find the girl that saved him, but like what he's searching for from the world.
He wants adventure in the great white somewhere.
No, it's his part of your world.
Yes, it absolutely is.
We all, even though it's called part of your world, she never says part of your world until she meets Eric.
That is true.
Yeah.
It's always bugged me.
And they incorporate Ariel's singing into Wild Uncharted Waters. You can hear it in the background.
Yep.
And so we've seen Eric before this moment having that yearning for adventure. And so in the same way that he's the kicker for Ariel to get up and follow through, partially, we'll get to it, Ariel's kind of the kicker for him to, like, they lift each other up. They make each other better. I love this version of the relationship so much.
This movie was determined to make you believe these kids belong together.
Yeah.
And succeeded.
Their chemistry is just off the charts.
Oh my god, their chemistry was insane. Also, in Wild Uncharted Waters, once again, Eric looks like a hot mess. And there's nothing I love more than somebody that looks pathetic and is singing about what they want more out of life, because that really drives an I Want song home.
By disaster, Eric and Ariel are by for by. I have spoken it. It is
they are by disaster.
Every time I saw him like in a new outfit and like tried to gauge how close it was to like the original animated outfit, I was hitting my friend to be like, "That's the outfit!" And then another outfit came in, and I was like, "No, that's the outfit." All of his outfits were some version of the outfit.
Yeah, but also again, make it Austin, make it Regency, make it Bridgerton.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Ariel got one dress.
Why couldn't we have a full market page for her? But again, she might have been like, I don't want any more clothes. Just let me have this.
But where was the sparkle dress?
I do miss the sparkle dress.
Yes.
But I mean, who doesn't?
She came out of the water in a dirty, sopping wet. They've been wearing that for 3 days dress. Give her a new dress.
Yeah, you're not
and
wrong.
The fact that they combined the wedding dress and the pink dress did tickle me.
Yeah,
that there was
that
some
was nice.
pink in the wedding dress.
Yeah.
But pink looks so much better on her than it does on original Ariel. And I know people have gone into like, the pink dress is not meant for Ariel. It's whatever they had lying around. But that doesn't change the fact that pink and red is a really hard combination to get together. And the way they did Hallie's hair, oh god, I saw a TikTok explaining like the exact process. They got the same hair and makeup team from Black Panther Wakanda Forever, because that was a stylist who had time to work with natural curly hair like that underwater. And the process of Hallie's hair, it looks gorgeous.
It is
in
the most
every
amazing.
scene.
Those little tiny braids like flowing under the water.
And watching her do the first part of Your World reprise, because there are two now.
Yes.
Watching her do the iconic flip and then learning that she strained her neck because her hair was so heavy.
Poor thing. Oh no.
I didn't know that. Poor thing.
Because she was on, I think it was on was it on the Sherry Shepherd show? And she was talking about, she's like, yeah, girls who know art locks get heavy. And like watching it, I'm
So
like,
realistic.
wow, having to do that so many times, but like worth it, honestly.
It was a gorgeous shot. Again,
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised by how well what parts they did recreate from the movie actually translated. I was so concerned.
So we talked a bit about Under the Sea. We talked a bit about Wild Uncharted Waters, and what's after that?
About
Party
my
of
new
World
celebrity
reprise, iconic, legendary, one of the greatest
So is
reprises
it-
ever written, honestly.
Is it
Yeah.
now time to talk about the Ursula and poor unfortunate souls of it all?
Did it really bother you guys that much?
I
Okay.
have a different
so-
opinion than you, I can tell.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna
yeah,
let you
same.
go.
Here's where I am at it. Melissa McCarthy, I love her to pieces in a ton of other things, but in this role, she is trying too much to be Pat Carroll. So it's the same kind of issue as when they tried to make Emma Watson be too much like Paige O'Hara and
Yes.
Susan Egan. But she's trying too much to be Pat Carroll. They didn't let her be Melissa McCarthy enough in this. And two, she's just... There were a couple of times when, like, she sounds like she's channeling Ethel Merman, and I have complicated feelings on Ethel Merman in general, but she wasn't owning Poor Unfortunate Souls enough. Like, that's a song where you need a little extra oomph. You need the body language.
They cut, that's devastating. I know why they cut it, and I'm like, okay. But for that character, it makes sense. I was okay with the chick, because it's like, obviously she's the villain. Obviously, she's trying to tell Ariel things so that
That
she
are not
can
true.
and they even did that. Instead of like, I feel like instead of the men up there, like a lot of blabber, is why they added the and she won't remember that she has to kiss him, because now she's not just doing emotional manipulation. Now she's actively mechanizing. While I feel like the shaming and the manipulation of Ariel with that second verse was enough in the animated movie.
Yeah, and that also, I think, has to do with Ariel's aging up a little bit. Like,
right.
In this, Triton, they copped a little more to the fact that what Triton does to Ariel is abusive. Like, she uses his own words of never leave home again, and that just, you can tell from the look on Hallie's face, it is stabbing Ariel in the heart to remember, my father just did that to me.
Right.
I don't feel safe here. I don't feel like I belong here. I need to get out of here.
Especially since Ursula is her aunt again in this, and she's out and out like, yo, he did that sort of crap to me, dear. Come along, we'll talk about it. That was the vibe she was trying to give.
I agree with you about the Pat Carroll impersonation. I feel like they didn't let her be more. I didn't mind. I thought Poor Unfortunate Souls was very well sung. That was what I was worried about, because I knew she could sing because Melissa McCarthy was on one of Barbra Streisand's Famous People duet albums. But there were just bits. A lot of the Ursula stuff was too dark for me to see. was one of the things. Like the look at me, I'm wasting away. I can't see you. I can't tell that you're wasting away.
Put her in purple bioluminescence, at least.
That at least we all know is always a joke, of course.
No, I meant specifically, I couldn't see her in that scene. I couldn't see her. Also, where did Flotsam and Jetsam's voices go?
That I will say, that was interesting how they did. They took
Flotsam and Jetsam's line and gave it to Ursula. That's what they did.
Pretty much.
Somebody who played either Flotsam or Jetsam.
That's Erasure.
That's Erasure.
I kind of liked that because I don't remember off the top of my head who did it in the original film, but when I saw the original film, when I was rewatching it for the previous podcast, I thought it was Pat Carroll doing Flotsam and Jetsam. It was Patty Edwards, Paddi, but yeah, they sounded like very similar to me. So
That's fair.
it kind of felt like it was just merging characters that
and
were
also-
already kind of feeling pretty interchangeable.
And plus, like, CGI eels, Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah,
I feel like that
we
was
do
the
not
main
need
motivation,
any
let's be
more
real.
CGI. Not with what they did with Sebastian and Flounder.
No, you know what?
Those poor
Let's.
kids.
You know what?
I think it's time to talk about it.
I will actually defend the Sebastian now. I know. I was
I forgot. I totally forgot that the whole time. Like I obviously Melissa McCarthy did a good job with what she was given, even though she was like restrained, like she was like sort of pushed to do Pat Carroll instead of herself. But I could not. I just kept seeing this as such a missed opportunity. Like when you've seen like Queen Latifah as playing Ursula, or they could have, and I know she could have gotten another surrogate. Like if they had to like have someone Javier Bardem's age to play Ursula, Jill Scott was also there, and she can play evil just fine. Just see her in Black Lightning.
Jennifer Lewis,
Yes.
Ooh, that would have been interesting.
Lilius White.
Cheryl Lee Ralph.
Lizzo auditioned. Peppermint could have been great.
That's right. Didn't Peppermint audition?
Did she really?
Did she?
Lizzo auditioned.
Lizzo auditioned.
Oh,
Lizzo,
she was
I know,
amazing.
auditioned.
But like, also, honestly, it should have been a drag queen.
Yes. But if we
Maybe?
weren't going to get one, I am actually pretty happy with her performance.
They
Like,
could have
on
gotten her a better makeup artist.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's.
that makeup artist is fighting, just not helping her own case. Like, God.
Let me
Dig up,
They
stupid.
should have gotten a drag makeup.
Exactly. It would
That's
have been
what
so
they should-
dramatic.
Like, for the lighting that we got, it did not bother me much, but yes, it could have been better.
But
Like,
then
there's
when you see the pictures,
Yeah, fortunately, that is not in the movie.
Ugh.
But
Yeah.
yes, the behind the scene pictures are frightening, but
so
and not in the good
Seb-
way.
so let's talk. Yeah, let's talk
Whoever
about
did Jessica
Sebastian's
Alexander
design.
It's like
Sebastian's
paper
eye
mache.
stalks.
It's like paper mache. That's what I'm saying.
I see your point, but on the other hand, should we explain Agatha, Sam? Because do you two know Agatha? Bex?
I do
don't
not
think
know
so,
Agatha.
no.
I only know Agatha a little bit, but Agatha and I have the same birthday, so we're both
Oh, that's
Scorpio water signs.
Who's
that's
Agatha?
fun.
Is Agatha the actual crab?
No.
Oh.
You're close, weirdly enough. Basically, Agatha, I don't know how much of the Little Mermaid TV show you two have watched.
Oh, I've seen that.
Okay, did you see the
Of
Crab
course.
Experiments episode?
The what?
Okay, I lied. I haven't seen
Island
much
of-
of it.
Island of Fear. It is basically
No.
a Frankenstein pastiche, for want of a better term. And there is a mad doctor called Dr. Vile, whose big thing is crab
Oh.
experiments.
Oh, that's her?
Crab experiment.
No, that is his great granddaughter, basically.
Oh.
She is Tony Goldmark's nemesis.
Yes.
The Little
And
Mermaid.
she has attacked him with a chainsaw multiple times.
Yes. And
The Little
she has
Mermaid
an
TV
adorable
show
dog
is
named
so
Cherry.
great.
It is. It was a fun show.
Yeah. I still
Anyway,
remember
point
the
is-
episode with like with Gabriella and signing.
The Deaf Mermaid?
That's the best
Yeah!
one. That's the best one, easily.
Yes.
But basically, I actually briefly talked to Agatha about, would you want to do a bit where we ask if that is one of your experiments? And she's actually like, why is everyone so mad about that? He looks like a crab and he's cute. If they had tried to CGI something that looks like the animated Sebastian, would have looked like something out of Silent Hill.
horrifying.
It would have looked like something out of Silent Hill. I mean, look how everyone
That's-
freaked out about that fake flounder.
Yeah.
Okay,
Flounder ended up
after
being
watching
cuter than
it,
I anticipated.
I didn't mind eye stalks crab. Flounder's another story.
He's so flat. What did they do to him?
He's flat! He's flat.
Flounder is not in it enough to bother me, but yes, they almost had
Jacob
it, but the
Tremblay's
eyes
voice
were a little-
acting is doing a lot of work.
It is. It is very
Yeah.
much doing
And
a lot of
I
work.
disagree. Jacob Tremblay, so cute. Also, he got so tall since they shot the movie to when the movie came out. He's
I
like an
know,
adult now.
I know, I'm like,
And-
what?
Like he was holding back the puberty. I'm like, just let me finish this one movie.
Let me finish this one film. But like I loved Kiss the Girl. Flounder took me out of the scene. I couldn't
Oh.
stop staring at the character design.
That's a shame because I know Sam, you said that it was a little too dark for you. I actually really adored it, especially since they were stargazing and the way that Ariel told him her name.
Oh no, I loved that part of it. It's just when they went inside the tree, that was when it got too dark for me until the bioluminescent fish started spitting.
The bioluminescence was
well, at least I wasn't bothered by Scuttle's redesign nor change in species.
No, I actually didn't mind that.
Though my favorite thing, Scuttle is introduced. So she dives in, she grabs a fish, she eats the fish, she comes out of the water, eats the fish, and then goes back.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird scene, but I mean, I guess we are already in a movie about mermaids, so maybe I won't be that.
Should we talk about Awkwafina?
Must we?
Yeah,
yeah, we must.
The issue that I have with Scuttle is kind of the same one I have with Ursula, is that they didn't. I would have preferred somebody other than Awkwafina. Like,
yes,
I don't know,
oh my god.
Like, maybe if you'd gotten Kate McKinnon or somebody from like SNL who's really funny and let them improvise, because the original Scuttle, that was Buddy Hackett.
Yep.
And Buddy Hackett, it's not to the same level as Robin Williams getting to be the genie in Aladdin.
Well, this was before
Buddy
Aladdin,
Hackett,
right?
Yeah, right.
So,
right, but with Buddy Hackett, they clearly got him because he's Buddy Hackett, and you can feel his personality oozing off of it. And Awkwafina does not have much personality other than talking fast and being kind of annoying when you don't let her do the black scent that made her
oh my god, like,
as infuriating
if they did
as
have
she
to
is.
like if you did have to have another SNL cast member, Bowen Yang does come to mind.
I would have had Jack Black.
God, Bowen Yang getting to do like a riff on the Dinglehopper and the Snarf Black.
Yes!
That would have been.
We also didn't get the Snarf Flat. We didn't get the Snarf Flat. The pipe floated to the bottom. We didn't.
That is true. We did not
Well,
get the
smoking is bad. We can't show the kids smoking now.
That's true. So should we? I want to save my favorite new song for last. Maybe. Well, Wild and Charted was my favorite, but like, as long as we're talking about Awkwafina, should we talk about the Scuttlebutt?
What?
Shammy, what do you think?
There was no Scuttlebutt. There was no Scuttlebutt.
Nope. Nope. I've just like blocked that in my memory. It's like I just need brain breach for that moment.
I don't hate it. Would it have been better if it didn't exist? Probably.
I mean, honestly, I've never liked any of Scuttle's songs.
Yeah.
He's got some songs too in the musical. He's got Human Stuff and he's got
Positivity.
I hate Positivity. This is not the space for that.
No, it's okay.
Also, by the way, the lyricist, the Scuttlebutt, we can attribute to. I did also see in an interview. So Alan Menken wrote the tune, and then surprising Alan Menken, Lynn did a rap over the tune instead of doing lyrics to the tune.
Yeah, which doesn't surprise me. It's a very him thing to do.
And I was like,
I get wanting to let David Diggs do his motor mouth thing, because he's very good at it. He won a Tony for it.
Yes. He is very good at it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, again, listen to the Deep by Clipping. It's another mermaid thing he has done.
But yeah, Scuttlebutt, I think we've talked all we need to about it.
Yeah, we don't
Except I like the joke at the very end.
We don't talk about Scuttlebutt.
The one where they're under the covers and Sebastian's just like, Scuttle, you're too close to me.
Yes, that was funny. Yeah, honestly, it got good.
Scuttle, Sebastian is practicing social distancing.
Yes. Honestly, it actually almost got good when David got into it. Because of course.
Right? Yeah. Okay, so let's backtrack a bit. Should we backtrack for the first time?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sure.
I was enchanted. I was expecting more actual running and jumping with those lyrics, but otherwise I just really adore that scene. Like, other than, yes, the corset slander. We know how we feel about the corset slander.
The moment that I loved the most was when they were doing that spin around her, and the lights fall away. She's in blackness, and she's singing, and her lips are moving. It's a beautiful moment, and then the devastation on her face when Eric walks in, and he's like, who are you?
She was so euphoric at the prospect of seeing him again.
And then she suddenly just brought down, and it's so devastating.
Also, shout out to the maid that was like, where they were like, he has been looking for that girl, and she sees on Ariel's face, and so she's like, I'll go get him.
The character's name is Lashana, she's played by Martina Laird.
Yeah,
Thank
she was
you.
great. I loved her.
Also, Hallie eating the soap, comedic genius.
Oh,
She just
so
went.
cute.
I was like, yikes.
I thought
And
she was
also
like
the
pop
boat-
bubbles at one
Oh,
point.
she's hungry.
The
Totally.
boat guy that took her out of the ocean was also a sweetie.
Yes.
The actor was Jude Akuwudike.
Anyway, I was going to make a little joke like during like that blackout scene. It's like she was so euphoric at the prospect of seeing Eric again that she lived in a world where she still had her voice.
No, but it's true. Again, the parallel to this in the Broadway show is a song called Beyond My Wildest Dreams. And that one is good and functionally takes the same place as this, except inexplicably they put her in the pink dress in the live action, even though they did not have to. And you can really see how it doesn't work. Even more when it's not animated and it's on a white woman with red hair and it's this pink dress and it's a mess. It's a mess. Yeah.
It would have been
But,
so much better on Hallie.
She would have
Killed it. But on the other hand, I do think part of it is just the way they developed Eric's kingdom in this. It is clearly very Caribbean based, and let me tell you, as someone with Caribbean roots, you don't want to be wearing that heavy shit. You want
Right.
nice and light and lacy. And honestly, I just loved the marketplace scene. Like, it's a different kind of Caribbean than my family is. We're Dominican. But there was something weirdly nostalgic about it.
Aw.
Weirdly enough, like, it almost kind of reminded me of going to the DR to visit family. But again, very different type of Caribbean. But still, like, it's about as close as I'm going to get in a Disney movie anytime soon.
And as much as I shaded the movie for adding the stupid, like, you don't remember that you'll have to kiss him, I also really admire it too, because now Ariel doesn't know she has to like kiss him. Now she's going because this is cute guy, but also she's going because that's where and the marketplace proved it's like, oh, this is what she was after the whole time.
Yeah.
And that's
also
what for the
just-
first time does a lot too.
And the conversation she had with Eric over his collection, like all the little things. He's teaching her, she's teaching him, and it's so good.
I loved the bit when she takes the thing and he's like, wait, no. And then she pulls out the thing inside. He's like, oh, wow, somebody understands my hyperfixation.
Yeah, that was it. That was what it was.
It is giving the autistic kids have found each other.
Yeah.
A little bit, if you ask me.
It's so adorable.
They're so precious in this movie.
I kind of gave me same hat vibes with those two.
I enjoyed
the hat.
I really
hat
liked the revelation that Eric was a lost at sea baby.
Yes.
Was
I thought that was going to feed into him potentially being a merman.
Right?
Me too.
I was half expecting it to turn out he wasn't all human.
Right. I was like, he's a siren.
Which
Make Eric a merman in the sequel. Jonah Howard King wants it too.
Yeah.
Yay. Another reason for me to have him to be my new celebrity crush. Says,
But
he just turned 29, so I'm good.
that was very interesting that he was shipwrecked orphan.
Yeah.
And then the relationship with the queen was also really interesting. Love that they gave this cartoon character depth, a life. And that's where the added stuff like worked for me.
Like, they really insisted on making these two parallels, kindred spirits.
And the
I'm
fact
a
that
sucker
they
for that.
didn't get married immediately. There was a time shift.
Yeah.
Clearly indicated by their levels of familiarity with each other. I thought that was lovely.
Well, talking about the parallels, it's really interesting that, we have Triton who's like, humans killed your mother and therefore all humans are bad. And honestly, I would have been more into it if like they'd gone in more with the sisters and the look what the shipwrecks are doing to the reefs. Like,
Yeah.
gone in more on the environmental damage.
Yeah, because they were clearly kind
And
of
then-
doing a there.
And then the land kingdom, it's like, we don't fuck with the sea because the sea gods keep killing us, so that's why we have to be isolationist. But there's some good to this and there's some bad to this. Like, I really like when Ariel turns back into a mermaid. Eric immediately goes to her. He's still clutching her close. He still desperately wants to be with her, and everybody else is, like, backing away in horror. But the issue for me is that some people were saying it's bad that Eric is no longer the one who's shish kebabs Ursula at the end, because that was Eric proving to Triton that hashtag not all humans.
I feel like the fact he stuck with her is enough for that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I liked the fact that Ariel said, I didn't fight alone when Trite gets his Disney-mandated resurrection. Although she hadn't then followed it up by further explaining it. Like, she could have just said, I didn't do it alone, and left it at that, and made her dad sit with it and work it out for himself. Because while we don't get to see it on stage, on screen, it does feel like Queen Selena did work it out, that she fucked up and her son was right, and the sea gods are not out to kill them.
It's like you both need to work some shit out.
Triton had to have it be spoon-fed to him.
I will also say, in terms of Ariel stabbing, we love to see a girl boss winning, except I couldn't see any of it because the scene was so dark. But the thing that gets me, and the thing that got me about this in the animated movie too, is he had no, I mean, logistically, it's an animated movie, but logistically, I'm always like, how did he know? Did he just swim to a random part in the sea and then go down with his spear and just like hope they'd be there?
Does he even have the ability sword to do that?
But yeah, I'm like, how deep down did you go? Because they implied earlier in the movie that the mermaid parts of the sea is deep. But that's me being pedantic. I think what I love so much about this version, one of the things I do miss about the Broadway version is you get to really see, again, leading back to the If Only Quartet, one of the greatest counterpoint duets of all time between four people. You get to really see, and it's hammered in, how deep Triton's regret is and how deep his devastation is. And also, I just feel like Javier Bardem was good.
Oh, he was very good.
He's no John Lewis, though.
He was, and of course he wasn't phoning. I don't think he was phoning it in or anything.
Oh,
but
no. People are saying that. Yeah, no.
People are saying that.
I'll be the dissenting voice. I did not think Javier Bardem was doing a very good job. I am not a fan of Javier Bardem in general. I think he's an actor where if you want to get him to give a good performance, he needs to be playing a character who's some kind of villain. The best performances that I've seen him give were obviously his Oscar-winning turn as Anton Chigurh and also Silva in Skyfall. But if anything, this reminded me the most of, unfortunately, his performance in the 5th Pirates of the Caribbean movie, where doesn't really seem to care that much. And it's not as bad as like Christopher Walken reading cue cards on the set of Peter Pan Live, but it feels like this is Javier Bardem on autopilot. It feels like they hired him because he is a respected actor with enough natural gravitas that he gets the job done whether or not. So I think the moment that most solidified, I do not think he was terrifying enough in the scene when he destroys Ariel's stuff. Like, that scene, the animation does a lot of work there, but Kenneth Mars gives a vocal performance that's genuinely terrifying, that's like full villain shit. And the only time in that scene when Javier Bardem feels genuinely scary to me is at the end when Ariel's in tears and he says, "Never leave again."
That was painful.
Because that had the darkness and the menace and the underlying threat.
You're not wrong there.
This did give me an idea. If they did have to choose an older actor with the gravitas and stuff, Alfred Molina's right there.
Oh, that would have been interesting.
I could have seen that work.
But with that said, for what we've got, I think he did a perfectly fine job, and I actually do kind of dig how they kind of went full Aquaman with his look.
Oh, you can't deny.
I liked his fish, and I liked his fish cape. He has a cape made out of fish.
Oh,
yes, that's kind of freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Again, that brings me back to the mermaid designs were cool. We only saw like 12 mermaids.
There should have been more. Why is it so sparsely populated?
Yeah, that's a really fair point. Like, especially because we see all of that in the last few shots with just the entire Mer Kingdom just kind of seeing them off, which is just Oh, that was so sweet. And my headcanon is Urchin is in there somewhere.
Yes.
It reminds me of like how Kingdom Hearts, they go into various Disney worlds. And for
Right.
one of the DS games, they went into Hunchback of Notre Dame. So of course there were only 6 people in the city. Fuzzy, Esmeralda, Phoebus, Frollo, Riku, and Sora. And there were no other people because they didn't have the budget or the space
They turned it into a
to
ghost
like
city.
Yeah,
animate
actually-
that many people. So there were 6 people in all of
Exactly.
Paris. That's what the underwater sequences felt like.
Actually, when you consider the fact they were probably still dealing with COVID stuff.
Yes.
Well, actually, that
Yeah,
does make
like,
more sense.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right, they filmed this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just hit me.
Yeah.
Duh.
Huh.
The most
Oh,
that
no
we
wonder.
see are then the market scene and then the engagement party.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how this Ariel was ready to throw down.
I know!
Yes.
Oh, the whole Vanessa...
Everything about that was freaking amazing.
It was. And I love the fact that she was the one who fought to get that freaking necklace off of Vanessa's neck. Also, let's give a little shout out to Jessica Alexander, because not only was she perfectly cast, but also she has been out and out saying thank you to Hallie on Instagram for basically letting her borrow her voice, which is very funny, because there have been some idiots who were saying, oh, Vanessa was a much better singer, why wasn't she Ariel? And everyone had to be like, you understand that
She's
Hallie
been
sang
blocking
it.
those people.
Also, she's been blocking all those people, which is
Yes.
hilarious and correct.
The way this cast has been protecting Hallie has given me so much joy.
Can we talk about how good Hallie was as the Vanessa voice, too?
Honestly. There was such a menace to it.
The thing I regret is that we didn't get to hear the lyrics.
Yeah.
But I get why they didn't. I get why they didn't do it. I think they wanted to just let Hallie improvise without having to fit into the lyrical melody.
That's a fair point.
But also the lyrics in live action, Hallie's voice plus Jessica's face plus mimicking back into Melissa's face seems like it would have been a lot.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that too.
Too
That's
busy.
actually really good.
I get it on multiple levels, but goddamn. I also found it kind of funny that I don't know if Ursula made the room look more creepy, or if they just okay, we'll stick the prince's new fiance in the creepiest room in the castle. But that's
Is it sort of like
that's
a
top
warning
tier
signal
villain
for them?
boudoir. I
Maybe?
want that villain boudoir.
And also loved her dress. It was somehow
Oh,
both...
it's such a pretty dress.
Almost reminds me of Lily James's Cinderella dress, but obviously purple.
And with sleeves. But then we get to the part of your world reprise, and
Yeah.
I was legit crying.
That was heartbreaking. It was so perfect.
Especially
Again.
with the Little Mermaid charm.
Yeah, those
Good
are
job on the lyrics,
Those
Lynn.
were perfect.
Mm.
Those were perfect. And it really does, I think part of why, any version of this story really hits is because of just the yearning. And I feel like that reprise really perfectly captured the level of yearning that makes people keep on coming back to this story.
Even if the Disney version isn't at all gay, the yearning makes it gay. There's nothing more gay than yearning.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Truly.
Longing for something that's out of your reach.
This is me being fully serious with
No,
the
I
themes.
agree with you.
There's nothing more queer than yearning to be a part of some place that people don't want you to go or do.
And yearning to be with somebody you can't have.
Yeah.
And it really does kind of emphasize, it's just what the hell is she supposed to do if this doesn't work out? Especially since this does emphasize that Triton absolutely alienated his daughter.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't clear to me what Ursula's plan was. In the animated movie, she's gonna turn Ariel into one of those little, polyp thingies, unless Triton does.
Oh, the little
It's
sea
never
anemones.
fully confirmed what she was gonna do with Ariel in this version. We don't see any of her other victims get undone.
Well, I will say we see
Triton
the
only gets-
skeletons.
Yes.
We see the skeletons of mermaids.
Oh
Yeah,
god,
I
that
did-
was horrifying.
Yeah, I did kind of forget to mention how when she is going into her cave, it's holy crap, this is basically an underwater haunted house. I love it. I vibe with it, but yikes.
That went dark
I
real
will
quickly.
say that's also the other really interesting thing because of the change of medium. She doesn't have these little people that she's like, oh, of course I went back on your deal so I could take your energy. In this one, when Triton takes places with Ariel, Triton fully gets electrocuted and dies.
Ursula's just straight up killing people.
At least in the anime version, there's a clear way to they can reverse the magic. But in this one, apparently, first of all, apparently in the sea you have the power to reverse death, which is a fascinating mechanic.
Indeed.
But like,
So
yeah,
why
it's
would
not
Triton do
as
that on
clear.
Ariel's mom?
That
It's
is
not
such a-
as clear.
No body?
Yeah, that's the other wrinkle. That's what I was thinking of, Sam. You
Yeah.
get me.
I'm
What if there
thinking
was no body? They probably
If there
could
was-
have brought the mom back if there was no body.
Yeah.
But if
I'm
she was
still
killed
not
by
entirely
humans,
convinced
would she be
Ursula didn't set
exploded?
it up.
But I'm like, unless she was exploded by humans, I think there would still be a body.
Like, did Ariel's mom get killed by a ship and then Ursula took the body? And did Ariel swim over her mom's bones?
Oh,
I don't-
No.
that'd be horrifying.
And especially, I'm not sure which is
I-
worse, that she doesn't know, or if somebody told her.
And I'm suddenly
Can I just say,
Ursula's looking for the thingy that'll turn her into the Vanessa.
That was
Oh
a
my
dumb
God,
bit, but I kind of liked it.
Where did she take that from? What is that?
it did very much look like a lung.
We really just see her like hold the magic shell, and that does it.
I will also say, and in my defense, when I saw this movie, I was tipsy. But when I saw the skeleton, and when you said that, I was like, oh no, but it was probably a boy mermaid because I forgot that boobs don't show up on skeletons.
Oh.
I'm 25. And I've never taken an anatomy class, though. That's true. I never took bio.
Oh. But
I was like, what do you mean? Because they have the shell things. So the
anywho,
Anyway, going back to Ursula and Vanessa, I appreciate that Ariel is the one to rip it off, but goddamn, magic is slow. Like, if that voice hadn't taken its sweet time floating around and
They
it just
could have
gone
won.
into Ariel's
Yeah.
boat, they could have won. I also kind of missed that we didn't get Ursula, like, peeling out of her Vanessa skin, because that's just such
That-
a relatable feeling.
yes.
That was just an
That's me
iconic
every time I
moment, and
think
we
of
were
my
robbed.
teens.
yeah, but also I'm not sure if it would have translated quite as
It
well.
probably would have looked like ass.
Yeah.
with
It
modern
probably would have. It would have been
CGI.
hard to
I
pull
mean,
off.
honestly, another thing I didn't like about the final fight is it felt kind of random because I feel like we didn't get much of Ursula's motivations.
Yeah.
Because they added, well, I mean, it's because of the added runtime. They did so much good job at fleshing out.
Ariel and Eric, but not
That-
her so much. Okay, that I will grant you. Because I was about to say, we didn't really know that much about her motivations in the original either, but
Well, then again, I'm again coming from the place of knowing the song "I Want the Good Times Back," which is literally Ursula reminiscing with her eel sons. Are they her sons? I'm assuming they're her sons.
I'm
Her
assuming
about
they're her
running-
servants. They're her servants.
Minions.
I mean, no,
Right,
because
but
she
they're-
calls them her babies whenever they die. So, like, she does clearly love them.
Oh, I will also say something that this movie did. I was tipsy, but I was trying to count the tentacles because in the animated movie she explicitly has 6 tentacles because it
'Cause
was
2
easier to animate. And
And
there
also
were
2 arms
discussions
count.
in the rehearsal room about 2 arms counting. But I think they finally gave her more than 6 tentacles in the live
did.
action. And
They did. I think that was a
And
discussion.
then people
I
started
think
calling
that-
her a squid.
And now she's a squid!
I don't care how many tentacles it is, it's too many tentacles.
That's too many tentacles. I kind of wish that's the other thing. I kind of wish we saw. I really liked how we saw different mermaids with different climates, and like, okay, each one ruled the ocean. This is the first Disney live action that I'd be okay with a sequel from.
Oh, easily.
Yes.
I would love to see this have a sequel. Like, flesh out the Mer Kingdom, see what Ariel and Eric get up to.
Let Eric be
Introduce
a
the
mermaid.
sisters more.
Yes.
And
yes.
I would clarify a new sequel,
Yeah,
not
I
the
would
Little
love-
Mermaid
I would
2
actually
turned
really
into
love
live
to see, like, a
action.
TV show or a sequel, something like that.
Eric has the durability of a superhero or a James Bond because during the final battle, he is just getting slammed around. I am shocked he did not die.
My boy is
That
going
is
through
true.
it, but
Yeah.
he took it like a champ.
He did. Actually, that happens. That he gets slammed around so much in this movie.
I'm surprised he hasn't had a concussion.
I'm sure he
I mean,
did.
they
I'm sure
treat
that's
him
why
like
they were
he was
able to hypnotize
concussed.
him.
They treat him like he was concussed when he came back and he's like, I'm looking for the girl. And his mom's like, honey, go back to bed. You're brain damaged right now. Like, Mom, no, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Mom,
kind of-
I'm fine.
That was adorable. Also, another thing I really did like about Eric is just how much they're really, like, it was always kind of there, but here really emphasizing was just like, no, he doesn't see himself as above, the sailors or any of his people. Like, he wants to be there with them, helping them out and stuff. And it's just, you can tell this is a fantasy story because this is a rich white boy who wants to explore, and you could genuinely believe he doesn't want to colonize anybody.
I will say, I was a little frustrated that they did mention, like, Spain, and so Rob Marshall made it clear that this is supposed to be set in the Caribbean, but all the sisters are rulers of seas, and the seas have different names than they do in our Seven Seas terminology. So I was a little frustrated. I'm like, why not just make this a fantasy world completely?
Yeah.
And then give the racist dipsticks less fodder.
Let's talk about that one article where somebody said how it was stupid that they didn't address slavery in this movie.
We should acknowledge the author of that text is Black himself.
Yes, obviously. Yes. So we're not trying to, like, talk down or anything.
So coming at it from both sides, I see this as a situation where we are theoretically in our world, given that there are mentions of places like Spain. And Spain did do the colonization. Spain did do the slavery. This particular kingdom seems to be some kind of isolationist melting pot.
Yes.
Theoretically, one could see this as refugees, basically, from a collection of diasporas, basically, who formed their own kind of society. I think there's a reading for that, and that this could then theoretically be a kingdom where slavery did not exist. Yeah. But also then I'd be advocating for a different system other than monarchy, like an anarcho-syndicalist commune.
I don't know what those words mean, Sam.
It's a Monty Python reference. Let's just say a more form of direct government by the people would seem theoretically more appropriate for a kingdom, a region that was populated by people who all came together from disparate communities.
That is true.
And on the other hand, we're telling a story about a mermaid, and there is a talking crab. So
it's not that grounded in reality.
We're allowed to have the escapist fantasy, like going back to Brandy Cinderella, Best Cinderella, white dad, black mom, Filipino son, no
one cared,
Your Honor.
Yes, and exactly, because I would agree that we should tread lightly, but I've seen black people out and out say, man, you really don't want to let us have escapism anywhere, huh?
Yeah.
Like, nobody asks you to address, like, say, sexism or classism in other fairy tales, but so why is it that we need to be more grounded in realism when people of color are in the forefront of a fairy tale?
It kind of reminds me of what Disney touted as the first Disney movie with the Black Princess. The Princess and the Frog, and how they had Tiana spend 80% of the movie as a damn frog.
And also
that
they had
was technically a holdover from the book, but the other thing is that these people who are complaining, oh, stop changing Ariel, stop erasing redheads, make original characters, let's be honest, they're not going to go see Wish in November.
No.
They don't care that Ariana DeBose is going to be Disney's first Afro-Latina princess. They don't care that it's going to be
hell yes,
freaking amazing. I'm so excited for her.
I know. She's gonna kill it. And
yeah, but also Princess of Frog was also grounded in reality. It was like set in 1920s New Orleans, and I'm not trying to disparage like the setting or anything, but part of it did feel like they were trying to justify Tiana's existence in the movie.
Yeah, kind of, which is a shame because there is something very charming about the setting, but on the other hand, you can't really shake off the feeling that they did it because they didn't know if they could justify the fact there's a black princess otherwise, which is a wrong-headed way of approaching it. And
that being said, it is so satisfying to know that Tiana is kicking Song of the South out of Splash Mountain.
Yes. There's something very, very cool about that.
And she has her own series coming up this year, so
I know, I'm so excited.
I haven't been to Disney since I was like 6, so I don't really know or care about the parks.
That's fair.
The Song of the South,
all of you that
very
do,
racist. Texas. That's what you need to know.
Actually, speaking of the parks, they have actually added live action Ariel for meet and greets, and I have seen so many videos of like little black girls going to meet her, and it really does. I know, and it really does bring to mind, like, regardless of what anybody's criticisms of the movie are, and some of them I'm sure are indeed valid. At the end of the day, this is for them. This is for those little black girls to be able to see themselves as the fairy tale princess, as the mermaid. And I think
And
that's
it's not like they're taking away white red-headed Ariel. I've literally seen those screenshots of the app. They have the option of go meet Ariel from the animated story, go meet Ariel from the live action story. Like,
you have options.
Kids are not as stupid as you give them credit for. They get that there is a difference between cartoons and people.
They do indeed.
I mean, I remember being a child, and actually it was watching The Little Mermaid 2 Return to the Sea. I was watching that. I looked at the screen, then I looked at my fingers, I'm like, Mommy, why don't I have lines outlining my fingers?
You're adorable.
That's so cute.
I was
Is there
adorable,
anything
yeah.
else about this movie that we're missing?
I feel a little bit like we were cheated out of having that big choral reprise of Part of Your World at the end.
I did kind of miss that. That's like my second favorite
Now
part
we
of the
can
musical.
walk, but
Now
again,
they can
it's
run.
but again, not all of them can. Just only Ariel and Eric.
I mean, technically, Trident clearly could just do that to anybody now.
Make the
Potential
mermaid
sequel.
tail jewelry. Barbie figured this out.
Make it Splash Rules. That is a really lovely finale. It's like one of my favorite finales Broadway ever produced, really, because it's like
That's how it ended. Is that how it ended in the Broadway? Maybe I just forgot.
Now they can be who they're meant to be. Now they can sail on a new horizon. It's just like again, it kind of just brings back the yearning, except the yearning is satisfied. But yeah, I did miss that. But on the other hand, can we talk about the bookends of that one line from the fairy tale about how a mermaid has no tears and therefore she suffers and then Hallie's crying at the end.
Exactly.
Rob Marshall knows how to start and finish a film with a theme.
It was interesting that this was the one that brought the most direct reference to the text like that.
Isn't it? Why do we think they made that choice out of all the other Disney fairy tales, do you think?
Well, because vulnerability and showing a black girl being vulnerable.
I think my theory is that they were trying to, yes, go with vulnerability, but I also think we associate tears, especially that one super pretty tear going down your cheek, with longing and pining, which this is a story about pining.
Yeah.
On so many levels.
That's a really good point. Like, it is kind of the raison d'etre of it, like I said. Who knew? This might be the best remake they've done.
I'll still go to bat for Jungle Book, but...
Jungle Book's great, but I don't have as much of an emotional attachment to Jungle Book, I think is the thing for me.
Fair enough.
And I think for me, it's Rob Marshall's best musical that he's directed since 9. I thought this was firing on most cylinders. I really enjoyed it. I want to see it again.
Yeah, I have to say, me too. But
I could go to see again if I don't get to see Spider-Verse again.
Go see Spider-Verse first, of course, but...
Yes.
Like I said, somewhere between the original movie and this movie is a perfect movie. If I were to procreate in the future, I think this is the version that I would put on for my potential youngling.
If I may ask, how would you combine the two? I'm actually really curious now.
Well, I'd take the romance from this version, and I'd definitely take Scuttle from the original.
Buddy Hackett's
So,
Scuttle
like,
is
if I could
best
take
Scuttle.
the love story from this movie and the side characters from the other movie, then I think we'd have the perfect fusion. But I'm not sure how one would go about achieving that exactly. I'm not that good of a dramaturg.
But yeah, like I said, I was genuinely stunned. I mean, two of you know how much the original movie meant to me as a little one, and even now. So the fact that I actually really have to struggle to think of which one I like better really goes to show you guys should absolutely give it a watch. All listeners who have not yet,
I do recommend it.
give it a watch. I think it is a worthy successor at the very least.
I'm just looking forward to all the little black girls in Halloween costumes. Dressing up.
Yes.
That's gonna be amazing. That is going to be so much fun to give out candy to if I'm not working.
And this is definitely not Disney's last Black Princess. We have Wish coming up in December.
Yes.
So go see
Very
that.
excited about that. Yes, please go see Wish. It looks like it's going to be awesome. All right, who's got stuff to plug? I mean, we already kind of talked about yours.
I am the host of 6 Degrees of Star Wars, wherever your pods are casted. And I also have a YouTube channel, La Femme Fictionale. If you want to check me out on social media, most places I am Femme Fictionale or occasionally Fictionale Femme. And also, because this is Pride Month, please give any gay person you see whatever they ask for. We're going through a rough time right now. Just
It's scary
please
out
be
there.
nice to us. $20, a cake, a hug, a nap, something.
Well, I haven't plugged anything, but
Yes.
so I'm Bex. I could be found at. Well, I'm not going to plug my Twitter because Twitter's probably going to close in like 2 weeks.
We've been saying this for months, Bex.
Right, and then I don't have. Actually, I guess I don't have anything to plug right now. But so I will tell you to go listen to the Little Mermaid Broadway cast album. Just get a sense of it if you want. If you want to see what I've been talking about, and Justice for the Blackfish and Under the Sea.
Yes.
Wah!
And once again, Shamila's GoFundMe is still up, and we could still really use your help. For those of you who missed it, she was recently the victim of employment fraud that was targeting disabled people looking for work. She has a GoFundMe. Please donate what you can. As for me, you can find me at Faye Riviera on Twitter, Tumblr, and TikTok. Additionally, I was recently the voice of Candace in Fireblast Studios' The Platypus's New Groove, a fan project made by a friend of the show, Micah Hirsch, where Phineas and Ferb crosses over with the Emperor's New Groove. And you can check that out on YouTube. Coming up next, speaking of Bo and Yang, weirdly enough, we will be covering, for the next week of Pride Month, Fire Island, the recent rom-com adaptation of Pride and Prejudice. See you there soon! On board, the ship all was astir and lively again. She saw the prince and his fair bride in search of her. Then they gazed sadly into the seething foam, as if she knew she had hurled herself into the waves. Unseen by them, she kissed the bride's forehead, smiled upon the prince, and rose up with the other stars of the air to the rose-red clouds that sailed on high.